The man was on the verge of dying from thirst, but he didn't dare to drink the seawater he scooped up with his hands. Even a single sip would instantly drain all the moisture from his brain. The three of them sank into deep despair. No food, no water. The suffering was worse than death itself. Just then, Jack suddenly screamed. The other two immediately turned their heads, thinking he had discovered something. To their surprise, Jack pulled a pencil out of his pocket. With this pencil, he could draw a sea chart based on his memory. Without wasting any time, he quickly began sketching on a life jacket. First, he drew the latitude and longitude lines. Then, he used black circles to mark the nearby islands. Next, he took out a navigation tool and used the wind speed of 3 knots to estimate their approximate location. If they were lucky, drifting southwest would soon bring them to a small island. At last, they smiled for the first time in a long while. Although they had found hope for survival, controlling the wind direction became a new challenge. Jack thought for a moment and quickly came up with a solution. He immediately untied the rope on the life raft's valve and used the life jacket to make a simple sea anchor. With this anchor, they could avoid being blown off course. If they continued along the correct route, they would reach land in about 7 days. Now that they had hope, they smiled once again. However, the unbearable dryness in their mouths was becoming overwhelming. With no other options, the three of them began to pray, hoping for rain. Late that night, as if God had heard their prayers, rain started to pour down. Overjoyed, they hurriedly took out everything they could find to collect the water, afraid of losing even a single drop. Then, they opened their mouths wide and greedily drank. It was the first time in 5 days that they had tasted fresh water. With fresh water, they finally regained some strength. But the food problem remained unsolved. Tom had been fishing for a week, but not a single fish had taken the bait. Frustrated, Tom pulled out a small knife and angrily stabbed into the water. However, in the next second, he realized he had struck the life raft. Jack angrily scolded him for being an idiot. But then, suddenly, a huge force pulled on the knife. Only then did Tom realize he hadn't hit the raft. The next moment, he pulled up a shark. Seeing this, they immediately pressed down on the shark to prevent it from jumping back into the sea. Jack grabbed the knife and stabbed the shark fiercely. Only when they were sure it was truly dead did they finally let go. At last, the three of them were able to eat raw fish. After eating their fill, they stored the remaining fish meat in their socks. They planned to use it as bait for future fishing so they would never run out of food again. Then, they cleaned the bloody water from the raft and let it flow into the sea. However, they had no idea that this would bring them unexpected trouble. Not long after, a group of sharks, attracted by the scent of blood, began to swim toward them.